South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for kicking off your week with us. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino, south of the Strip, one of the best local hotels in Las Vegas. Free parking, great prices. Make sure you come and hang out with us, especially for the March Madness tournament coming up here shortly. This is Sports by the Book, educated sports betting advice and best bets daily, which we do bet ourselves. I'm Alex White, third-generation handicapper, learn from the very best in the business. He is Kenny White, or Ken White. I don't know which one we are going with now, but one or the other. Good morning. You wanted to break down some total trends for us.
Well, I don't have to do that now. We can wait till noon to do that if you want. But no, I was just thinking, I listened to you when you're talking and you said free parking here at the South Point, which is so true. And it's also free valet parking.
Yes, it is.
You just got to, be nice, tip your valet driver. You don't have to. It's not a requirement, but it is nice to tip your valet parkers. But it's very hard to find free valet parking as well. So a lot of convenience here at the South Point. It is an amazing casino. Hey, there's a lot, I could talk about today. It was a roller coaster week for me. Thank goodness it finished on a high on Sunday, and the wind was blowing out 40 miles an hour yesterday at the ballpark. I'm sure everyone, Ann knows, she was probably out there yesterday, and it was a good day, because when you find those weather spots, now the second one barely got over, but they both went over the total.
All 6 games over the weekend did go over the total at the Las Vegas ballpark.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, because Ryan did work the entire weekend, and no game was under 3:30 for time. So it was a long weekend for the crew.
I can imagine every game was, there was, I do remember a lot of scoring in that ballpark. Well, the big league team, the average runs in a game for the AAA team is 13, and they're using wood bats.
Right.
Now you're bringing in big, strong guys with aluminum bats, and they're going to do a little bit more havoc. But the average score, median score with the in a short sample size, because this is only year 2, is 16 runs per game. Now this is going to go up, though. I didn't add in yesterday, but it's probably about 18 runs a game.
It is interesting, and those were 4 great teams that we were hosting. It was Texas, Texas Tech, Illinois, and Washington. A lot of fun. They traveled very well. Do you know where are any of those teams ranked pretty high going into the year? I thought
Texas
so.
Texas,
and I think they were undefeated.
That was Schlossnagel's return. Jim Schlossnagel was the head coach here for the UNLV Rebels in early 2000s, and I knew right away I just knew right away that it was amazing. I was coaching high school baseball at Gorman at the time. I don't know if you were even in 2002, 2003, if you were going there then, if you were probably middle school.
I wasn't there when you were coaching.
Oh, you weren't?
No.
Oh, okay. So that's probably a good thing. Yeah. So that's probably a good thing. So anyway, Jim Schlossnagle got the job here at UNLV, and he actually had a night where he invited all of the high school baseball coaches from Las Vegas to come over to the university, and he wanted to give them a tour of the facilities and just get to know all of the coaches, had pizza for everybody, and it was like, this is amazing, because the last head coach, Rod Sosby, wouldn't know what I looked like if we bumped into each other. He wouldn't know if I was the head coach of the best high school program in the country. And that was crazy to me, that you have to recruit from your city, and that's what Schlossnagle really wanted to do. He wanted to put up a wall around the city and let people know they weren't coming in to get the local talent. He wanted all the local talent, and I knew he wouldn't last here long. He in 3 years he built the program to, he took the team to the College World Series in the first round, but he got the job at TCU, and then. Your younger brother TJ played for UNLV, and we played TCU for 3 years, and I got to talk to Coach Schlossnagle every one of the years that we played them. And I talked to him before the games, and it was amazing how his attention to detail, you could just see it. Well, he then ended up getting a promotion to Texas A&M. He took his team to the College World Series last year. He was right there. He lost the championship game to Tennessee, and then all of a sudden he bolted down and left for the biggest rival in Texas.
Wow.
And he ended up, I think he's $7 million contract. So a guy who went from the head coach of UNLV to TCU to Texas A&M, great guy, really good baseball coach. So he is at Texas, and his team he's going to take Texas to the College World Series. I don't know if it'll be this year, but I bet you it's next year for sure.
Very interesting. And I talked to some of the fans from Illinois, and I didn't realize they had won the Big Ten last year, but a lot of turnover. Of course, we see that with every program now with NIL and players moving and going to different spots. But yeah, so we had good teams out there, a lot of fun. How was that for you betting-wise when you have these classic tournaments and all this non-con for college baseball?
I like it because it's different, and there's not a lot of information on it, but everybody knew the wind was gusting yesterday here in Vegas, and anybody that follows it knew it was blowing straight out to center. You just brought up another point that clicked in my head. The nil, with and the transfer portal. I don't know why I was looking at Louisville. And we know Pat Kelsey just got the head coaching job there this year. And he's done an amazing turnaround. And I went back and I looked at his roster, and his top 9 players, not one of them played at Louisville last year.
Wow.
All 9 players came through the transfer portal, and seven of the 9 played at different schools. There's 2 kids that came from College of Charleston. But none of those kids had ever played together. And he brought them together, and they're right there. They're number 3 in the ACC, one of the best colleges and conferences in college basketball. It is an amazing job. It shows you what a really good head coach can do. And to bring them together that quickly is really an amazing job.
And then, of course, I just hope to contain some of them moving forward so they can build off of that. And you're right. It's a really good first year for them.
They may have 1 or 2 players that aren't happy with the playing time they got, but man, if you see what he did, I mean, as a parent, I would say to my kid, why would you want to leave there? I know if you don't think you got the playing time you wanted, you must not have worked hard enough, because this guy was so successful. Do you think he was playing the wrong players? If when a coach is good or not, and I would hope that nobody leaves that program, and I don't think they will. I think he'll attract even more talent now than he did before. He's going to get more talent through the transfer portal. It's always bringing that talent together, though, and making it mesh.
We do have one ACC game on the board. Duke, number 1, of course, in that conference, and they're 1 or 2 with Auburn. throughout this entire season. We will get to that. I do want to mention we are still doing our trivia, and that is Monday through Friday. You will see it at the bottom ticker. First one to answer correctly is the winner for that day. JR does have a nice commanding lead right now. I believe 5 wins for him. I think Dean Hilt has 1. I'll have to double check that as well. But first one with the correct answer, we will shout you out at the end. We appreciate you guys playing with us. Again, Sports by the Book, 7 days a week. Monday through Friday is 10 a.m., Saturday 8:30 a.m., and Sundays at 9. So thanks, and please continue to follow along with us. As I mentioned in the opening, we give our best bets every day. I thought March 3rd, 2025, our goal today will be for each of us to give a minimum of 3 winners.
That's good. I'm just going to give 3 plays. It's the 3rd. We'll go with 3 best plays and try to pick 3 winners.
I think Ryan and Vince actually even used the number 3 in our clicker as well. So, in our ticker and our trivia. So, yeah, we'll just stick with 3, try and find the very best plays. Yesterday, I think we overthought some things. I didn't have the best day. Luckily, I went 3-0 in hockey, so 4-4 for the day. But basketball, we skipped a couple good ones. Oh my gosh, Kennesaw State, we talked about that one, and it being meaningless for Liberty, and they won outright.
Kennesaw did.
Yes, they did. We should have definitely had them. I think they were getting 9. Passed over that one, and then we took a couple overs that we thought were meaningless games. But that's the trends I was talking about when we started the show as well. You were looking at totals, right, and overs and unders for college basketball.
Yeah, I'd read that in one of the emails I get in the morning, and I go, when something catches my attention, I read it, and it talked about there are more overs late in the year. This last couple of weeks, there are more overs, and it clicked for me that I talked about the NBA. I used to love the last day of the NBA for several reasons, that the season was over. But 2 was it was a great over day, that there were meaningless games and these guys just wanted to have fun and play. And a lot of times it was really good when you had 2 guys that were battling for the scoring title. If 2 players were neck and neck for the scoring title, those guys would have great games. And it's happened many times in the history of the game where you've had one player score 75 points and another guy get 68 points because they needed that many points to win the scoring title. And you would get a lot of overs. So I thought that's got to be true in college. If it's true in the NBA, it's true in college. Basketball is it's the same mindset. So I thought these games are meaningless at the end. You could get more points. Well, I went back to look. Because I lost both those games yesterday. I thought I had 2 really good overs in 2 games that were completely meaningless with over trending teams. The one game only lost, I lose it by, a couple baskets. I lost by 3.5 points. They didn't shoot well.
Yeah.
They did not shoot well. And then the Murray State game, that lost by 20 points, but they did not shoot well. Both teams shot around 40%. Those are horrible shooting percentages, and that's why they didn't go over. But I wanted to see, here's what we have for the last 8 days. And I went back 8 days because I wanted to catch the last Saturday and the 2 Saturdays, the last Saturday in February. 251 overs, 251 overs, 252 unders. Right there. Exactly what the bookmakers want. They absolutely love that. Now, for some reason, I did notice that the 2 Saturdays were over games. There's more games on those days. The last 2 Saturdays are 142 and 119. So if you bet every game over the last 2 Saturdays, you're up 14 units for those 2. And then I guess if you took all the other days and you bet under, you'd probably be 14 units up on unders. But that's so random. And I'm not suggesting to do that. I did look at totals 130 and less over that time. 7 and 6 over.
Okay.
So there weren't many games that totaled that low. And then I took the games over 155. There were a lot of those, but they were 37 and 34 to the under.
Wow.
The games that were 155. So I'm going to keep track of this because this is the last week of the regular season. And then I'm only going to do the regular season games, and I'll do the conference tournament games as well. Keep track of those, because yesterday I noticed, and I pointed out, Both conference games were bet under. They both moved at least 3 points to the under, but both games went flying over.
Yes, they did.
So the bettors lost those. The bookmakers won them, but I'd like to, continue to follow that trend on how the totals are doing in the conference tournaments.
Well, the first game flew over. The Stetson game closed at 141.5. Final was 149. The other game, it depends on the number. I'm seeing that it opened at 160.5, closed at 158, and landed 159. Are you seeing that too? And that would make sense. And that is what you said yesterday on the show too. You said if you're going to bet unders in these tournaments kind of blindly, you have to bet right away.
Well, I wouldn't say bet them blindly, but I would say if you like a game under, get it early.
And you're right. If that goes to their strengths or if they're defensive-minded teams or play at a slow pace.
But yeah, you're right. I didn't realize that game opened higher. I was only going off the closing number that it went over, and it did barely go over. It was the higher scoring game, 90-69. I was talking about that Austin Peay getting 3.5 points. I thought there was value with them, and I did make a small bet on Austin Peay yesterday because I felt like we want to use home revenge, and I use it in the regular season, but when you get to the tournament, sometimes it's hard to use it, especially with two equal teams. I more would trust home revenge, not home revenge, but if you lost both regular season games, there's going to be some value in that, betting that in the tournament game.
Well, we will get to that. We have 4 ASUN games on the board today, including Austin Peay and Central Arkansas, who did move on to the next round. So we'll get to that, but that will be closer to the end of the show. We're going to start off with the bigger conferences. There's 1 game per conference, and then we will go back because we have Big Sky. There's every team is in action today for the Big Sky, so then we will get to those games as well. So starting off right away, we've got Wake Forest and Duke. I got to pull up, make sure I have the current odds here. Duke, 19.5 point favorite at home, total 144. Wake Forest does have revenge, but this is just a really good basketball team and a really tough task for Wake.
It is. Duke 1-game lead for first place over 2 different teams. Go back, I know Louisville's 1. Who's the other team? Clemson. Clemson's had a really good year.
Yes.
Both those are they're 1 game back. Duke plays North Carolina next. They end their season with their biggest rival every year. That's the last game of the season. So are they looking ahead to that game? Do they want to, I'm sure this is you have to know the coach and what the coach gets out of the players. If it was Coach K, I would say they're not looking ahead because his teams never did. But this could be a fact that John Shire's team could be looking ahead to play in North Carolina. Even though they beat them already, they could be looking ahead to them. So they did lose to Clemson, and they would, if they lost a game and Clemson won both of their games and they finished in a tie, Clemson would win the conference championship on the fact that they only played once and Clemson won the game.
Well, let's look at this number, though. So Duke should be a 20-point favorite at home against Wake Forest, adding the home court in there. If we give Wake 2.5 for revenge, that's not a big enough difference here that we are at double digits and at 20, right?
I made it 18 with the revenge, so you're right. I don't have that big, but when I think about is there going to be a look ahead, it may be a game you wait till halftime. Maybe Duke's up 20 at halftime. And you're getting a much bigger number, but you're right. There's not a lot of value here. 21 right now. The South Point, I think, has the highest number on the board at 21. And it may have come down.
No, it has, yeah.
It has come down?
Yeah.
It's down to 19.5. I'm going to update my screen to make sure that every time I come over, it doesn't update.
What could we give look ahead? We don't know what that is worth.
2.5 points has been about the average over the years.
So that's given 5 to Wake. We're getting kind of close here with almost making a bet, but the 21 would have been nice.
I think you missed the value. And if you were gonna bet it, you'd want to take the 21.
Lean to the under here at 144. Not a big enough difference either, but the strength of both of these teams, well, Duke is good on both sides.
Yeah, Duke can really score.
Offense, but Wake Forest definitely better defensively than offensively. That first score was 63-56.
That's the way, Wake would love to play this game. I'm not sure if they can do it on the road at Cameron Indoor. So the Dukies are 10-7 over in their home games, 11-6 cover and spread, 17-0 in the season. Yeah, I'm just going to pass now on this game. If it was 21, I think I would have taken 21, and this total was bet up to 147. Looks like it was kind of a dummy move and bet into the wrong direction to get more value when everyone opens.
Should be a good day for us to each pick 3 winners too, because I know a lot of people like our revenge factor, and there's a lot of revenge, and I think there's a lot of unders that we like as well. So let's move to the next game in the American, which is an underplay, and we'll see which one of us it makes our board. But Wichita State and North Texas. Wichita State, home revenge. They lost at home 58-54, another very low-scoring game. We love North Texas unders, and that's why the total 127.5, and they are a 7-point favorite at home. So adding in the revenge factor, looking at the total, which one do you like more here?
Yeah, I like the total more. With the revenge factor, I still have North Texas by 6. They are in second place in the conference. Let's take a look at that. Do they have a shot at first? They are 1.5 games out. 1.5 out with 3 to go. They still have 3 games to play. That's interesting this late in the season.
Well,
they play 3 games this week. Monday, Thursday, Sunday. It's pretty unusual for teams to play, I think, 3 games in 1 week. But they're going to do it. Home game today. So there's still life for them to win the conference, and that's a good thing if you like the under, because they're the better team. They're going to control the pace. They love to play slow, and they love to smother you with their defense, and I think that'll be the case. Wichita is a below average offensive team, and their defense is better than their offense, so that's a good thing.
And I will say, because we talked about the American and how 12 and 13 seed has like a play-in game. Wichita State won 6 in a row before losing to UAB right before this game. So they've been playing good basketball, and they really wanted to position themselves and get out of that play-in spot.
Boy, have they ever. That's a really good point, that they didn't really play anybody other than Memphis, and they got Memphis at home. They won in overtime. Memphis is a very good squad. The rest of the games were, kind of below average basketball teams. This is, this will be a big show for them if they can pull off a win against North Texas on the road. We'll see how good they're playing. They've been unlucky this year. Looking at Ken Palm, that they've been very lucky. Teams they can't make free throws. 65%. They're number 1 in the country in opponents' free throw percentage in a low number, 65%. That's amazing. So they've been a little lucky.
Okay, so if you were following along with us going by rotation number, we just did the 2 top games here. We finished with 857, 858 is Wichita State and North Texas. We're going to skip the next 2, which are both from the Big Sky. We're going to the Big Ten here, UCLA and Northwestern. I forgot to talk about this at the top. We had a lot that we wanted to cover there, but Michigan loses yesterday. Michigan State gets the win over Wisconsin. Now they are 1 game ahead. It's going to be tough for Michigan. They're going to have to hope that Michigan State trips up here. But looking at these 2, I just wanted to bring that up, and those 2 will play each other at the end of the week. UCLA has played much better down the stretch. They are now 6 of 18, and Northwestern 7 and 11 in Big Ten play. They are tied for 8th in the conference, 4-way tie there. So looking at this number today, UCLA 3.5-point favorite on the road and 131.5.
It's a big game for both teams. UCLA 1 game out of 4th place to get that double bye, and then Northwestern, they're only 1 game up from getting knocked out of the tournament. They lose 2 games in a row, and everyone else below them wins a couple games. They could be out. I mean, it's probably a long shot, but there is a chance they could be out. So they haven't clinched anything yet. And I think this is a much bigger game for Northwestern. I love the way they're playing right now. Let me go double check and make sure they've won 3 in a row. They beat Ohio State and Minnesota on the road, and they just beat Iowa at home. I had them a couple times in that run, and I'll take them again today. plus 3.5 against UCLA. And I do like the game under.
How did that, yesterday we talked about with the conference realignment and teams playing in spots for the first time. Do you remember who we were talking about? Kansas State. We were talking about Kansas State yesterday.
Yeah.
Because this is UCLA's. This will be their first time. I don't know how Northwestern had their home court.
Not the greatest.
Okay.
They have 7,000 seat arena, and I think they get like 5,000 people there. Whenever they play Illinois, there's more Illini fans in the stands than Northwestern fans. So it hasn't been a great following because they've never really had a great basketball team.
Yeah. Well, because Kansas State did win and cover. And I was talking about from the day before, Iowa State against Arizona. It worked out well for them. But
it is, that's an angle to follow. First times a team have been to a new arena, that is a hostile environment. And those two are very hostile, Iowa State and Kansas State.
Looking at the total here, I also like this one under. Would you agree?
Yes.
Because both teams are definitely stronger defense, and then both of them want to play the exact same pace, and it is a slow down pace. I didn't see how they were on the defensive side, but 3.5 and the under. One will probably each make one of our boards.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was really surprised to see Northwestern on the year 19-9 to the over, which shocks me because they are a slow down team and they do play better defense than they're on the offensive end. So, and they are good in transition defense. Both teams are.
Any trends at home for Northwestern though? Does that
10-6 to the over.
Wow. Okay.
So they were actually a little better, 9-3 to the over on the road. So their road games were better. UCLA 6-4 over on the road, where at home UCLA 13-6. At home UCLA has been a great under team. But I think the combination of both these teams and the way they play, and they are good defensive teams, this fits for an under. There's some really good over teams in the Big Ten. And that could be why Northwestern has had more overs because there's some good offensive teams. Illinois, Iowa, Michigan State, Michigan are all really good over teams. UCLA's not. So I think this fits. I think it's going to be a low scoring game, points at a premium, high 50s, low 60s for each team. So I do like the dog and under here. I think it's even worth a parlay.
The trends don't pay the rent. And this is one that I'm perfectly comfortable going against for sure. Let's go to the Big 12 here. We've got Houston hosting Kansas. This is a really good matchup. Houston 9.5 at home, total 133. Houston lost at home, double overtime, and that was a crazy game. They actually had the lead. Houston came back to force overtime. Kansas had a nice lead again in overtime, and Houston came back to win in double overtime. So Houston, they're coming off of their last game. They clinched the regular season. So I don't know how we want to play that as well. What do you have your number to start with? And then we can start adding in the revenge and see if it's enough to take the points here.
Yeah, I made Houston 12.5 before revenge factor. So I adjusted it down to 10 right on the number. My total 126.5, and it's Houston. I love betting Houston under because the pace and the defense.
Yes.
That's such great defense. 16-12 under on the year, 10-6 under at home. But then you add in Kansas, and they are 20-9 to the under this year. They just have not had the offense. It's good, not great, but their defense has been great. They've been holding teams to 67 points per game in up-tempo games. They like to run, Kansas does, but Houston's never going to let them run. They'll never let them run in this game. So I do like it under.
I wish I knew. Actually, it doesn't even matter. If you look back to last year, because Houston won the regular season, Big 12 as well last year, and they never let up. They finished the entire season. I don't know if they clinched it at the very end, though, but I would imagine that Kelvin Sampson doesn't let his team have a letdown here after clinching, right?
Yeah, I don't think they will, just the fact it's Kansas.
Yeah.
And we're talking about one of the blue bloods of all time in college basketball. And if you can beat Kansas, that's a feather in your cap for recruiting purposes and transfer portal purposes that, hey, we dominated Kansas. You don't want to go there. You want to come play for us. And that's big. So I think his team will be ready. I don't want him to be too ready and be up, by 15, but I want it to be a close game.
So under.
When you have under, yeah.
Under. That's 3 unders in a row for us. I think we have one more before we move to the Big Sky, if I'm not mistaken. No, I think that's it. Now we only have Big Sky. Yeah.
5 Big Sky games.
Let's go through the Big Sky, and then we'll take a break. We'll go through the extra board, and then we will go through the ASUN tournament, and then we will get to some hockey later in the show as well. So first game on the board in the Big Sky. Every team makes it.
Yes.
And this is the last game, right? For them, I think one more each. But this is rotation number 859. We're going Northern Colorado and Weber State to start it off.
I want to just double check. I always like to double check these conferences. And you are sure? Yep, one game left. Everybody, they're all playing their last game tonight. And again, maybe we can find an over in a meaningless game. Didn't work yesterday, but that doesn't mean I think the pace was there in both of those games. They just didn't shoot well, and that could turn around again. Roller coaster ride. Maybe the next 5 meaningless games all go flying over. So,
well, this first one for Northern Colorado Bears, this is not meaningless. Nope. They are tied for 1 right now, 14-3 record, the same as Montana, and they are going up against the second to worst team in the Big Sky in Weber State. So lane 8 on the road and the total 150.
Yeah, that's this Northern Colorado team is very, very good. This must be a good basketball coach, because remember, this is where Dalton Connect was before he went to Tennessee, and he did play for Steve Smiley. This is a very good basketball coach. He has shown improvement with his club over the last couple of years. So maybe he's a great recruiter to bring in a guy like Dalton Connect, and now he's got a really good basketball team and a chance to win the conference. I think they definitely come to play. I made him 8.5. This number opened 6.5 yesterday, now up to 8 at the South Point. So no value on it, but if you're going to make a bet, maybe it's a money line bet on Northern Colorado. I think they're going to win the game.
Yeah. Find a dance partner for them.
Right, to parlay it up with.
Minus 350. Maybe we'll find a hockey one that we can, but nothing for the total either at 150. Maybe a little bit of a lean to the under. But these two want to play. These are completely different, right? Northern Colorado fast. Weber State wants to try and slow it down.
Yeah, that we'll see if Weber State can play it at that tempo, a slow down pace. But I don't know. Northern Colorado is such a better team. If they get ahead and get the lead here in this game, it'll force, Weber into a higher scoring game. My total's right on, so I don't have anything on the total. This is the kind of game that maybe Weber, since they're at home, they're the underdog. They come out early, they get the lead, and you could lay 2.5 or 3 on Northern Colorado, and in game might be the play. You have a very motivated team that's well coached, that is playing well, and that's what you want to back. So I would play it in game, or I'd play a money line parlay.
Let's go to this next game. Both of these two are tied for 5th right now in the conference. Exact same record, 13-17 on the year, 8-9 in Big Sky play. It's Idaho and Montana State. Montana State is 4.5 at home. 147 is the total. Idaho did win at home, not giving any revenge here. That final was 69-64.
And the top 6 teams get a bye. So right now, these two are right there to get that bye. Are they locked in? I don't think they're locked in yet. Northern Arizona has a chance to catch one of them. And so if Northern Arizona, so this is a must win for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
And Northern Arizona, a must win because they're only a game out. So they must hold the tiebreaker against one of the two teams. And is there a difference in time? 6 o'clock. They both go at 6 o'clock. I was going to say, if they knew the outcome, Northern Arizona could mean whether they're, financially involved in the game.
Meaningful game, kind of playoff style here, and difference on our total. I definitely lean to the under.
Yeah.
Both of them play at a slower pace. but they are a little better offensively than defensively.
Idaho, much, much better. They average 73 a game and allow 77. Yeah, I think you would want to look at games like that to the under because there's some meaning to it.
Mm-hmm.
That both these teams, want to finish sixth in the top six to get that bye. So there's a lot of meaning for them.
Idaho's trend on the road, 10-4 to the over.
We'll see. That kind of keeps you off betting it. They have been an over team all year, 17-9 to the over. So I'm going to pass.
Yep.
I just don't have I wish my number said there was a play there. That's another game I would circle and say, if they get off to a hot start and they can't miss early, they're going to miss late. And maybe you could go under, 155 or something and get some decent value at the end. Hope it's a close game and hope that, that shooting doesn't keep that torrid pace.
Just a reminder, you're always looking for a 10-point difference if you can.
I like to, yeah.
On total. So you kind of rounded down a little bit, but about 157 if you can.
Yeah, I was thinking 155 just for myself because I made it 143.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if you see that, those are almost like you could just automatically make a bet when that total hits 10 points one way or another. It's a game of runs and things do turn around. That hot shooting doesn't keep up. Same thing as the cold shooting. It can. I've seen games we've seen scores that are drastically low and neither team can shoot the entire game. It happens. But on most occasions, I would say 65, 70% of the time, that trend does reverse.
I have so many tabs up right now, but I did want to bring up, you said this yesterday with the Florida Atlantic game, and that went flying over that second half. So 34-25 in the first half. We were on air while this game was going on. And then, is that the right one?
Florida Atlantic was.
Or was it Charlotte and East Carolina? It was Florida
No,
Atlantic.
I had Charlotte plus the points in the game. They almost won the game.
Yes, they did. Lost by 2. But much higher second half, 38-35. But it didn't. The full game did not go over.
No.
I really thought it did.
I don't think the second half went under. Florida Atlantic was 38-35?
Yeah.
Oh, the second half did not go over.
I guess I was looking at that other game.
It was higher than that.
Because the Charlotte and East Carolina flew over in that second half.
I can only remember one of my losses yesterday was Tennessee women's.
Yes.
And they were losing by 8 or 9 when we were on the air, and I was able to lay 3.5. Laid the 3.5, and by the time that we were finished our show, I checked the score and Tennessee was up 2. They were now a 9.5 point favorite.
Wow.
I said, well, that's good. I should win that bet. And then the next time I looked back, they were down 5 and they were back down to a 1.5 point favorite. And they can't lose at home to this team. So I laid the 1.5 as well. Small bet, 1%. So I had 2% on the game. And then I couldn't believe when I got the final score and Tennessee actually lost as a 27 point favorite. They lost at home.
I did get the notification that unranked Georgia with the upset over ranked Tennessee. So, wow.
That was the only loss. I don't remember the other ones, but that Florida Atlantic, I did bet that over when we talked about it. I thought it was a good second half. If I say it, I'm going to bet it. And then again, though, just a 1% bet, but I didn't check the score on that one.
So nothing for us. We're going to pass on the 2 Big Sky games.
Yes, so far.
Not big enough differences. 3 more to get to, though. Northern Arizona at Idaho State. I'm going to pull up the number right here. We've got Idaho State 7-point favorite at home, total 142. Anything here? Is there?
I didn't understand this move. There's revenge for Northern Arizona. I adjusted my number to Idaho State 1.5.
Wow.
And I took 7. This number has gone up. There has been money in the market for Idaho State, which kind of surprised me. They are right now 4th. Let's look at those standings.
Tied for 3rd.
They're tied for 3rd. They don't have a shot at first.
No.
And no one has a shot to take them out. A win would make them the 3 seed if Portland State lost, but that's not really that much to play for. It is senior day. It's the last home game, but there's no research that shows that teams cover spreads more when that happens. It's been 50-50 over the years. The line indicates that. So I like Northern Arizona. Northern Arizona is hoping the right team loses in the Idaho-Montana State game, and they win, and they get a bye in the conference tournament. They just have much more to play for besides the revenge factor.
And looking at the rosters right here, it looks like all the starters are going.
Yeah, Northern Arizona's missing. I think their sixth man has missed the last couple of games. But, hey, you got all 5 starters. We're good to go. Idaho State looks very, very healthy, but you can only play 5 guys. So I'll take my chances with NAU.
Okay, 2 more here in the Big Sky. We've got Sacramento State and Portland State. Portland State laying 13 at home, 134.5 is the total. No revenge. Sac State won at home, 56-53, very low scoring affair, and you can see this total is very low as well.
Yeah, I made it 131.5, so a lean to the under, but not a big enough difference for me to bet the game under. Sacramento State does play very, very slow and is a weak offensive team, and Portland State has shown this year they're far better on the defensive end than they are on the offensive end.
Going back to that game, you said if Portland State loses and Idaho State wins, they would be the 3 seed. Portland State would be the 4 seed. Portland State's playing the worst team in the conference in Sacramento State. So that is very odd that the money is coming in on Idaho State.
On Idaho State?
Yeah. How we like Northern Arizona. Idaho State is tied with Portland State.
Right.
And Portland State's playing the worst team. So they should win this game.
They should win the game. Yeah. Idaho State's probably not thinking that. Their coach is saying, "Hey, let's go get a win tonight, and we're finished. We can finish 3rd in the conference." We don't even know the tiebreakers.
That's true.
Didn't look because there is a tiebreaker, and don't know how those two have played head to head. I can check real quick for you and tell you Portland State and Idaho State on the season. Portland State beat Idaho State. They split. So now we got to go to the next tiebreaker. So I don't really we don't need to dig that deep. So I'm just passing. I'm not betting the game.
Passing this one. The only thing we have so far in Big Sky is taking the 7 with Northern Arizona. Going to the last game on the board, Eastern Washington and Montana. Montana 9.5. They are tied for first right now in the Big Sky. They're a 9.5 point favorite at home. The total is 146.
And I made, I have them 9.5, but I took 2.5 off for the revenge factor for Eastern Washington. But I passed on the game because the Montana, at home, they've been a strong home team for years. They're playing for that conference title.
And then Montana has a strong over trend here, 17-9. To the over on the year. Let's see how they do at home. 7-4 at home. 8-7 to the over for Eastern Washington, but not a big enough difference.
Yeah, it was a lean for me. I'm just looking right now. Northern Colorado. They lost to Northern Colorado at home. Montana did, but they beat them on the road. So again, now it's going to go to deeper tiebreakers for those two teams if they both finish tied for first place.
Well, that's it for us for the regular board. We're going to take a quick 1-minute break. When we get back, we're going to go to the extra board and we will break down the ASUN tournament. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 1 minute.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grandview Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grandview Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grandview Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Here we go, Sports by the Book live at the South Point studio. Alex White alongside Kenny White. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in the chat. We will get to the trivia winner by the end of the show, right when we get to our whiteboards. JR does point out that it is senior night for Duke and others. We talked about that with a few of them. 40 Kid asked our thoughts on Florida Gulf Coast or Jacksonville upsetting Lipscomb to win the ASUN, the overall tournament. We're going to go game by game for the Atlantic Sun, and we will get to those 4 games after we do the extra board, but we can talk about that and see where we have them rated and see if we think they have a shot for the upset there. But jumping into the extra board, so if you're following from rotation number, this is 306-509 Texas Southern. So we're going to kind of go quickly down this. I'll read you the current line here at the South Point, and you can give us your line and if we think that there is enough of a difference there to really dive into it. You ready?
Okay. Ready to go.
Here we go. Alcorn State, a 1-point favorite, 134.5.
I made them 1 and 125.5. So like the game under, the home team, Alcorn plays very, very slow. Both teams better defensively, and both teams have trended to the under, combined 32 and 18 to the under.
Wow. That's a good combo right there, starring that one. Going to the next one with Southern, 4.5 on the road, 141.5.
Yeah, I made them 4.5. The number's right there for Southern. A total 137.5. Lean to the under in this game. Both teams better defensively, so it's a decent lean under, but not a great one.
All right, Bethune-Cookman is 4.5 at home as well, 134.5.
Eileen made with Revenge. Grambling has Revenge. I made Grambling a 1-point favorite, so wow. I like Grambling plus the points. My total right on the number.
So Grambling 4.5, some value in that one. McNeese State 12 on the road, 136 is the total.
Love McNeese State. This is a really good basketball team. They are a very good basketball team, and they play great defense. Both teams are really good defensively. Stephen F. Austin, we saw get the win in the first round. My total 130.5. I do like it under.
What'd you say yours is?
130.5.
130.5.
Yeah.
Okay, so nice 5.5 point difference. 5.5
point difference there. Two teams that are far better defensively, and let's see, McNeese. Pace wise, it's not going to be a fast pace, and it's a big game for both teams. So, yeah, under the total, I like that bet.
How about Morgan State laying 1.5 at home against Delaware State, 164.5?
I made Morgan State 1.5, 166. So the numbers are right there. I'll just pass.
Keeping it in the same conference here. Norfolk State 5.5, 151.5.
Norfolk State, another good one. I made them 7, 145. I do lean to the under, but a lot of blue on my sheet for these two teams. They both have trended to the over. Both defenses are bad. Both teams are actually better offensively than they are on the defensive end, so I'll pass that total.
Southeast Louisiana 1 on the road, 152.5.
Made Southeast Louisiana 3.5. A little bit of a lean to them, and 149. My total's right there. A little lean to the under, but I'm not interested in the under. Texas Rio Grande Valley loves to run. They get up tempo. Good offensive team. Should be a fast-paced game.
South Carolina State is 11-point favorite at home, 157.
I have a revenge factor here. Howard lost at home by 23. They've had a decent season. They're fourth in the conference, so they're a good basketball team for this conference. So I made the game 6. I like the underdog plus the 11.
Howard plus 11 in the MEAC conference. Moving on to Northwestern State, 2.5 at home, 131.
Let me grab that. I got to get to the right sheet here on that. I printed sheets out this morning that were not color coded. I believe these are the ones that are. Well, maybe not. Well, maybe yes. Oh, this is the hockey. Okay, Northwestern State. I have 1 and 130.5. So nothing on that game.
Houston Christian, 2.5, 133.
I made Houston Christian 3.5, 139.5. Think they're the right side there, the far better basketball team, but the number's just too high for me to lay it. Can I bet it over is the question. I don't think so. Both these teams play slow, and East Texas State, one of the weaker teams in college basketball offensively. So I'm going to pass. I'm not going to go over there.
Houston Christian has a under trend on the road as well, 9-6 to the under. Lamar, 1.5, 141 against Nicholls State.
I made a pick in 134. I do lean to the under. Both teams, they're not both better, but Lamar far better defensively, and they've trended under 17-9 under on the year, 8-2 under in their home games. So if Lamar can control the pace and the type of game that they want to play, this game could go under.
Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 14.5, 144.
I made it 13.5 and 147.5. Nothing really there.
Okay. Coppin State, 3.5, 136.5.
I'm at 3.5, 126.5, and I like it under. Both these teams really weak offensive teams. They're probably 2 of the 6 weakest offensive teams in college basketball going head to head here.
Maryland, Eastern Shore, 16-8 to the under on the year. So that's 2/3 of the game.
Yeah, and the first time they played this year was 62-57. It came 119.
We'll have to write that one down as well when we figure out our 3 best plays.
I already took my 3 best plays from the main board. If I had waited, this may have been one that I actually put on my whiteboard.
Maybe it will make my board. Okay, that is it. So let's go to the Atlantic Sun here, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I am wrong, but I believe that is
one SWAC game here, Prairie View and Jackson State.
And we already have it up. Jackson State,
Bad
16,
game.
145.5.
Made them 14.5, so that number's right there. And 148.5, pretty much right on the little lean to the over, but I'm passing the game.
All right, let's go to the 4 games in the Atlantic Sun. So, as I mentioned, the 2 teams that moved on, Central Arkansas, and then, of course, Austin Peay beat the 8 seed. And Central Arkansas was the 10 seed, so that was a good upset for them. But starting with the first game on the board, Eastern Kentucky and Jacksonville State. Jacksonville 2.5 and the total 142. Do we know where these... We talked about campus sites yesterday, so now it should be split up, right?
These are all campus sites.
But is it the 1 and 2 seed are hosting?
No. These are 1 through 4 are hosting.
1 through 4 are hosting. Okay.
Yeah. So the top 4 teams. Jacksonville finished with the same record as Eastern Kentucky, but they won by tiebreakers to get the 4 seed, to get that home court.
Boom.
So this should be a close game. I made Jacksonville 1 and 138. So I do lean to the under. Jacksonville much better defensively than they are offense, but Eastern Kentucky is the better offensive team. So my number says under, and I'm gonna play it under because it's a big game. These teams now have 3 wins to get into the dance.
I do want to check how they did this year. I picked the wrong one.
I know Eastern Kentucky won the home game 59-55, and that went way under the total.
Okay, and that was actually Jacksonville won both of them.
Did they?
Yes.
So you got to give revenge for Eastern. I would make Eastern 1. I didn't look for the revenge in that game, but I'm going to take Eastern Kentucky plus the points. These are two close teams. They both finished 12-6 in the conference. My ratings actually say Eastern Kentucky is a little better basketball team, about 1.5 points better. So you've got a very motivated team in this spot. And Jacksonville does not have that strong of a home court advantage.
And they just won February 24th, so that is very recent as well to get that home court there. But okay, so to the dog in that one, plus 2.5. Let's go to Austin P in North Alabama. North Alabama is 11.5 at home here, and the total 144.5.
I don't like there's a revenge factor for Austin Peay in the game. They lost at home by 10. But they're playing back to back. So I think that kind of negates that. North Alabama 9. I'm really not interested in the dog right now at 11.5. I think if I could find 12 and takes 13 to beat me, I could be interested in taking the 13. My number does say this is an over game. Neither team really runs. North Alabama is the over team. If anything, they have a very, very solid offensive team. There's no trends for either team here. The only trend I just looked at, North Alabama 11-2 ATS in their home games this year. They have played very, very well in their home games. And I don't have a high home number for them. I am going to have to investigate that. I probably am going to pass. I'm not going to take the points here in this game.
You did tell me before you like the revenge when they're pretty close in talent and it's not a big gap too, right?
Yeah,
so now
that definitely helps.
You have a team that was the 7 seed and against the 2 seed. So they lost both this year.
I have them almost 10 points better. But this is such a new team to Division I basketball. North Alabama is, this could be their first year or second year. It's probably at least their second year to be able to play in the conference tournament. I'm going to definitely have to go investigate their percentage of capacity that they fill that stadium. And just by me looking at their ATS record, that's part of my equation when I come up with a home court rating. And I've definitely have them well underrated at home. So I need to adjust that. So there's no way I'm playing Austin Peay.
Well, let's go to the next one here with Queens, North Carolina, and then Florida Gulf Coast. Florida Gulf Coast is the 3 seed. Queens is the 6 seed. I believe that they are not eligible to be in the tournament this year, right? With that.
Oh, no, they're in. This is the tournament.
Queens, but I mean the big tournament.
The NCAA tournament?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. If they win, that's true. That does happen times where the teams that are not eligible for the NCAA tournament and they end up winning their conference tournament, which is a shame. The second place team ends up going. But Florida Gulf Coast, I have 5.5 and 141.5, another lean to the under. And these are such big games. 3 wins gets you there. All these teams are 3 wins away. Both these teams do trend under home and away. So I like it under. Florida Gulf Coast has played slow this year in their home games.
Yeah. 146 is the total here at the South Point. So nice 5-point difference there in that one.
There's been some under money. This was 147.5 earlier this morning.
Wow. So it is trending that way. Last one on the board, Central Arkansas and Lipscomb, 19-point favorite. They are the 1 seed. We talked about them possibly being upset in this conference tournament. Total 141.5.
I made them 19. There is home revenge for Central Arkansas. I don't know if they lost both games. They probably did lose both games.
Yes, they did.
So they've lost 2. So they have revenge, but I think it's nullified by playing back-to-back against a rested team on their home court. That's a bonus for Lipscomb playing on their home court against a team who could be a little tired, So I'm passing. The total I made 149.5.
Wow.
There has been under money in this game. Lipscomb likes to play fast, and they can score. Kind of strange, though. Trend-wise, Lipscomb has been an under team this year, 18-11 under, where our Central Arkansas is 19-10 to the over. They're 10-6. Both teams have trended a little bit. I'm going to trust my number just because I think it's a blowout, and you could get a lot of, garbage points at the end in a game like this. So I'm going to go over.
Over in that one. Okay, let's go through the hockey sheet quickly so we can take a break and then get our boards ready to go. You already have your 3 best bets
I'm set
on there. I've got 2, so I might be set as well. But I do want to go through hockey and see if we have any differences here. Do you have your
and your hockey's been
sheet?
very good the last couple of days.
Hockey?
You were 5-1 in the 3-0 yesterday and 8-1 the last couple of days.
Let's keep it going. I do feel like I really like the power ratings for these teams right now.
Washington open 55, bet down to $1.40 here at the South Point, 5.5 over.
So Washington is on a 3-game losing streak. We start to add in there because we have Capitals minus 165 and the total 5.5 as well. So nothing in this one for us.
The Florida Panthers opened 125 here at the South Point, up to $1.60. Big move on the Panthers. Wonder why they opened so low. This is a big rivalry, state rivalry game. But everyone opened up that low. It's amazing that everyone's opener was extremely low on the Panthers, but the bettors have been coming in with both fists betting on Florida. The total 5.5 over.
This is really tough because if you look at the way both of these teams are playing, Tampa Bay, you have right here on the sheet, 8 in a row. They're 9-0-1 in their last 10 games, and the Panthers are 8-2 in their last 10. So both playing very good hockey. I like the total over, even though 2 really good goalies, and we've seen these two with Vasilevsky and Bobrovsky in the playoffs against each other. But if you look at their medians as well, and both of these teams can definitely score. Panthers are 7th in goals for, and the Lightning are 2nd in goals for.
You love this game over.
Love this game over. That will make the board over 5.5 in that one.
Yeah, that's one of the bigger differences I've seen for the entire year. They are rivals.
Yes.
And they don't like each other, and you should go back and look at kind of some of the recent history, especially this year. But again, that things can change quickly too. Shots on goal is a tough stat to follow when it hits the post, and that's not a shot on goal. There could be some near misses in a low scoring game. But that's a nice size difference. Let's move the Islanders.
Okay, so both of the games this year did stay. Well, no, they both were 6. No,
both landed 6.
I'm so sorry. The first one was 6, 4-2.
Okay.
The Panthers won that one, and then Tampa Bay won the second one. So they both got their home revenge. They were on opposite. Tampa Bay won 4-0, so that was a shutout. So that might be the reason why the bettors like Florida. They don't get shut out often.
No, they don't get shut out often the last time they played. So that helps your over because they're both really good scoring hockey teams.
Yes.
So I can understand that. Now the Tampa team has gone under 4 straight games. So have they changed the style of play to be a little bit more grinded out style of hockey? We'll see.
Current form, yes, I would say.
You probably do you have the rankings on their goals scored?
Which that yes, I do. Tampa Bay?
Yeah.
Goals against their 6.
What about scoring?
Scoring?
Both offenses, where do they rank?
Lightning is 2nd in goals for, 3.56, and the Panthers are 7th.
So you got 3.28.
3.28.
Two of the 7th highest scoring teams in the game playing head to head. So it's a low total, 5.5, low total for 2 of the top 10 scoring teams in the NHL. I know it's a rivalry, and the last one did go under.
It did help us, though. Yesterday, we had a difference on that Stars game and the Blues. That game flew over. I said I don't want to go under because Dallas has been playing high-scoring games.
Right. Their recent current form is big.
So I may just bet this and not put it on the board, but I still like it over 5.5.
Okay, the Islanders Rangers continue their rivalry. The Rangers just won on Long Island in the last game. This one at Madison Square Garden. Rangers 125, bet down to minus 110. The total 5.5 over, bet up to 6 under.
And I agree with that move on the total. I have it 6 here. I don't know how much you want to add to the Islanders for revenge because they've lost both games so far this season against the Rangers. The Rangers won 5-2. And then you just brought up that last game they just played where the Rangers won 5-1. So
25 cents is good and make it 132. The Rangers minus 132.
22-cent difference. Not enough. We're looking for about a 25.
Right. It's very close, though, to
Yeah.
betting the Rangers.
But we don't want to go against that either.
Buffalo at Montreal. Montreal opened $1.15 here at the South Point. They're now minus 110. 6 over bet up to 6.5 under. That leans to your trend, and you like the game over.
I do. I have it 7 under minus 125. So there is a big enough difference there looking at both. Well, 6.5. That doesn't help us if we look at medians. Both of them are 3 and 3, and their median over under number is 6. So now it's bet up to 6.5. We might just want to stay off of this one. Sidewise, Canadians. Do you like the Canadians at home?
They're playing well.
Let's see what they're 5-5 in their last 10. They won 4 in a row. Yep. And but Buffalo too, 6-4 in their last 10. But they're 9-16-2 on the road this year. You
can get Montreal. They're minus 110 here at the South Point, but at circa minus 104 for the Canadians. You have them $1.44. They're on a 4-game winning streak. Buffalo has lost 4 straight road games. Yep. Kind of everything points towards Montreal. I think you liked them the other day and they won for you. So might as well come right back on them today.
At home too. So 2 more here.
And then San Jose at Toronto. San Jose, big dog. The Maple Leafs open $3.60 plus $3 on the take back, but it's come down a dime now here at the South Point. Toronto minus 350 plus 290 for the Sharks.
Toronto 8-2 in their last 10, and the Sharks are 1-6-3. Not playing very good hockey right now. Can't make a case for the dog. A little bit to the over here. But the Sharks are 30th in goals for. They're 32nd in goals against, and the Maple Leafs are 11th in goals for and tied for 10th.
It was a bad start to the year for San Jose. They started to play a little bit better, but now they're back again to just playing really bad hockey.
Medians don't match to go over that 6, so nothing there in that one.
And the final game, the Kings are in Chicago. Big favorite, LA Kings. Open 240, they're now 250.
Kings are looking for a get-right spot. They've lost 3 in a row, 5-3-2 in their last 10. But the Blackhawks are struggling too. 2-6-2 in their last 10. They're 11-15-3 at home, though, so they have been better at home. If anything, though, we would look to the under. Blackhawks have not been that strong under team, though, this year. Look at their medians at home. 3 goals for and 4 goals against. So we'll stay off of that under 6 as well.
Yeah.
Which has already moved to 5.5, which I do agree with. So 2 plays. Canadians, minus 104 if you can get that best number, and then over Tampa Bay and Florida for hockey.
Yeah, the only 6 in the market is at Circa. Everyone else, the entire market's at 5.5 over.
Wow.
Except for Circa on that game. So very, very interesting.
One more break. I'm sorry, you're already ready. I just need 1 minute. On the other side, we will show our whiteboards and our best bets of the day.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
There it is. It is time for our whiteboard best bets of the day. And then I will check in with the chat and give out our winner for today's trivia. Let's start off with yours. We are going for the March 3rd theme, each trying to give you 3 winners. We narrowed it down to our 3 best bets.
You wait till March 30th when you have to give 30 winners.
We'll split it up by then, right?
Okay.
15 each?
I hope so, yeah. So three games tonight. North Texas under 127.5. Northwestern playing UCLA at home plus 3.5, and then the Houston Cougars hosting Kansas tonight. Both teams, great defensive teams, under 132.5.
Wow, you have a nice little, N and H, they all kind of look similar there. I love that Houston under, too. I'm going to have to bet that as well. Thank you, Ryan. I know I was a little off on that. Wichita State, North Texas. So we do have one that matches. I am going under 127.5. UCLA and Northwestern. You have the dog. I have the under 132.5. And then going to the extra board with Maryland, Eastern Shore, and Coppin State. I'm going under 136.5. Do have 2 hockey, which if you were around for the entire show, you know, Tampa Bay, Florida, over 5.5. And the Canadians, minus 104 at home against the Sabres. But those are kind of count as my punchline plays, so I can stick with the three.
I'm not giving out my punchline play.
Good.
I'm keeping it a secret. This is like a tease. You have to watch the show now.
Dog of the day. Punchlines, 50 minutes from now. You have to go to Punchlines FN. Frank Nicotero is your host. I will be his co-host, and then Greg Vaughn is going to join us in studio today. So it should be a really good show. Please make sure and switch over to that one. Again, shout out to everybody who is in the chat. Thank you guys for following us and waking up early to watch us live. If you're watching the replay, we appreciate you as well. But let's get to the winner. Drum roll. Of the trivia winner. It is JR from the ballpark.
What?
Once again.
Seriously? Wow.
The question was, in 2001, one player hit 3 home runs in a single game 3 different times during the season. Who was it? With the initials SS.
Say the question again.
In 2001.
2001.
One player hit 3 home runs in a single game 3 different times during that season.
Sammy Sosa.
Very good. Initials SS. So you're 2-0 so far since we've asked you. JR, is that 6
I knew it wasn't
for him?
Steve Swisher.
Yeah.
Steve Swisher wasn't a power hitter. His son was, though.
And once again, my notes say JR gets it. Barely beat Nick again. So that has been a couple of times for Nick. But
so he got it. He was quicker to respond?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's the first one with the correct answer. So
okay. Gotcha.
A lot of fun. Thanks for playing along with us. Thank you guys for handling the trivia question. That's it for us for today. We'll be back tomorrow with Jeff Parles, 10 a.m. as always for Sports by the Book. For Ann, Andrew, Ryan, Vince, Jerry, thank you everybody, and Sean, of course, part of our crew. For Kenny White, I'm Alex White. This has been Sports by the Book. We'll be back tomorrow.